From South Bend, Indiana, I'm Todd Milewski from the Wisconsin State Journal with the wrap-up of Badgers' 5-1 loss tonight against number 15 Notre Dame at Compton Family Ice Arena, a chilly, as usual, Compton Family Ice Arena, hence the jacket I'm wearing, which I finally was smart enough to realize I needed after the first period when my hands were shaking, they were so cold. So, and that's leads me into as I warmed up, apparently the Badgers got cold. Badgers outshot Notre Dame 11-9 in the first period. Notre Dame outshot the Badgers 39-14 in the final two periods, which is really kind of amazing how much that turned around. It was a lot of standing and watching by the Badgers. It was a lot of looking around. It seemed to be a lot of, someone else is going to do it. And that's how you end up in a 5-1 loss. Not real hard to connect the dots there, I don't think. It was a rougher night for some of the Badgers players than others. Daniel Lodge had a rough night, and he admitted that afterwards. He was on the ice for he and Anthony Kerr, as a D pair, were on the ice for 4 of Notre Dame's 5 goals. And what I ended up writing about in the game story that's going up soon, if not already, on madison.com, and it'll be in Saturday State Journal, is that third goal, the one that put Notre Dame up 3-1. There were 3 big things that should have gone differently for the Badgers on that play that could have prevented the whole thing. One, and the order of importance here is debatable. One, Sam Stang made a bad pass out of deep in his own D zone that got picked off, that ended up in Jake Martin taking a holding the stick penalty. 2, Brock Caulfield had a chance to clear the zone coming out along the right wing, and got picked from behind. Looked like he had a chance to go forward with an offensive chance, shorthanded. Cam Burke got the puck from him from behind before he left the zone, kept it in the zone, and 10 seconds later they score. When the third thing is Trevor Janicki gets the puck down low, and Daniel Lodge doesn't get the puck off him or take the body. Lets him make the play. A nice backhand to forehand into the top shelf over Jared Moe's left shoulder for a power play goal. Makes it 3-1. And at that point, Notre Dame just is rolling and keeps rolling from there. There's a couple chances earlier in the game where the Badgers had breakaways that they didn't capitalize on. Jack Gorniak had one. Roman Ashan had one. The Gorniak one was when it was 1-1. The Ashan one was when it was a Notre Dame 2-1 lead. So, either one of those makes, to me, a pretty big difference in the game. But Matthew Galida, the Notre Dame goalie, played well on those especially, and really throughout. He gave up a power play goal to Ashan on the first shot he faced, and from there stopped the next 24. And really over the last 2 periods, the Badgers didn't get, other than those breakaways, they didn't get a ton of great chances, and that's I think becoming a worry that you can connect this game, the games at St. Cloud, the games against Michigan Tech this season, as playing against a physical team and being kind of bullied by them if you're the Badgers. We've seen the Badgers can play physical. I don't know that the Badgers can play as physical as some of these other teams like Notre Dame, like St. Cloud, like Michigan Tech. And that's where, when they're playing Minnesota and Michigan, those are teams that are going to be more run and gun, fast-paced, less playing the body, wanting to keep the game moving and going that way. Then when you play Notre Dame, different story. And I don't think the Badgers adjusted to that well enough tonight. I say it again, had a pretty good first period, and then Brock Caulfield took a penalty late, so they started the second period on the PK. Had to kill 3 more penalties in the second, and the fourth one for the game was the one that Janicki scored on. Notre Dame added another power play goal for Max Ellis in the third to make it 4-1. Ellis scored into an empty net after the Badgers went on the power play, lost the face-off. Well, they went on the power play and pulled Jared Moe for an extra attacker down 4-1 with a little more than 3.5 minutes to go. Lost the face-off, and Ellis buried it from his own zone to make it a 5-1 final. And it's another kind of dip for the Badgers, who are now 4-7 and have won one of their 5 Big Ten games in regulation. Another overtime victory here for the Badgers this season. So 1-3. The way I keep the standings, which is regulation wins, overtime. Regulation wins, overtime. Start over. Regulation wins, regulation losses, overtime or shootout wins, overtime or shootout losses, because there are 4 different point totals you can get for a game. 1-3, 1-0 is what I have the Badgers at. Confusing, I apologize, but I think that's better than 6 columns of a record for the conference standings, which is the way that the Big Ten, I guess all the other leagues are keeping it now. But when you have to explain what the record means, what the standings mean, that's not great either. But it was I talked to Tony Granato and Daniel Lach and Brock Caulfield afterward, and Brock Caulfield is a man of few words as it is, but he had especially few tonight. I asked him, what the turning point was, because the first period went well. He said they just scored more goals. That's it. I asked him if he was trying to go for an offensive opportunity when he got the puck picked from behind on that shorthanded zone exit that ended up in the Badgers' net. He said, yep. I asked him if he needs to be better than that on those plays. He said, yep. I asked him how the Badgers needed to respond to this coming into Saturday's game. He said, we just worked hard and scored more goals than them. And that was the end of our interview tonight after the game. Succinct. Daniel Lach, I mentioned before, had said that it was not his best game, obviously, and he's a guy that has been, and Caulfield too, they've been playing mostly well, from my perspective. It's just those obvious mistakes that end up biting them, and those are the ones we remember, I guess. So that's pretty much it here from Notre Dame tonight. Well, I am interested to see what Badgers team comes out tomorrow. We know that there's a scoring issue. This is now 6 of the 7 losses that they have scored either 0 or 1 goal. The 7th loss was they scored 2 goals and lost 5-2. So there's a major issue there. I can imagine that's going to be one of the dominating themes of this season. I'm interested to see what the Badgers look like tomorrow. See if they can be a little bit more physical. At least get that on a little bit more of an even footing with Notre Dame for the rematch here. Eric has a question here that I should mention some stuff about here too. Was Baker being out a surprise to you, or did you see that coming? So the backstory is that Tark Baker left last Saturday's game with cramping. It was so bad that he needed help getting off the ice. He did not practice Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. He skated on his own, but he made the trip and practiced Thursday and was on the ice for the morning skate today. So yes, I would say that was a surprise to me. It sounds like there was some pretty large after effects from the cramping that have I'm not a doctor obviously, but have made some issues there continuing on into this week. They're going to try it again tomorrow, it sounds like, and that's some more center depth that this team is really short on center depth, obviously, with Owen Lindmark already out, and had a few different looks tonight with players in the middle, and that's one we'll be keeping an eye on for tomorrow. So thank you for joining me here. Once again, the Badgers lose 5-1 to Notre Dame on Friday, and we'll be back after Saturday night's game, which is a 5 o'clock start Central Time. Just FYI, the game's on NBC Sports Chicago if you get that on a satellite service, or NBC Sports app, NBCSports.com if you have a TV sign-in to use for those. So make sure if you get that, check it out. Otherwise, I'll have the follow the live updates on our site, and make sure you check out tonight's game story on madison.com and in Saturday State Journal. So until tomorrow night, Todd Milewski signing off. Thanks a bunch, everyone.